Here we are for our midfield segment of our Chelsea Dream Team over the past 20 years. This is probably the most exciting part of it. I'm very, very excited and looking forward to what the boys have to say. I'm fortunate enough to be joined by Scott from Chelsea HQ, from Dan from the CFC News app, and from Joe Dwyer, who's my friend who sits next to me at Stamford Bridge. Boys, can you all hear me?
Yep.
Brilliant. Right, first things first, let's go. The name I want to put on the table for this, and I'm going to fight tooth and nail to have him in this team, is Roberto Di Matteo. That man has single-handedly brought joy to my life on more occasions than any other Chelsea player, and he has to be in this team. Scott from HQ, do you agree?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, his 2 FA Cup final goals made him a Chelsea great, but what he did for us in Munich in 2012 was just amazing, and it made him a legend, in my opinion, yeah.
I absolutely agree. And you see, that's quite interesting because we're now kind of going into his managerial attributes, which is probably a bit, I agree with you, that's exactly why he's there for me, because that was a brilliant night for me. But it's probably a bit cheeky. Do you think, say Dan, do you think that Di Matteo deserves a place in this team ahead of, say, somebody like Michael Ballack?
It's a tough one because I've got a bit of a soft spot for Ballack. I mean, he was brilliant. We got him for free as well, and he was just, him and Lampard were just amazing. But Di Matteo, you've got to think about everything all together, and Di Matteo was brilliant back then. When we didn't have the money to spend that we do now, and he just brought it then, and he's been doing really well, like at Schalke, and you got to give it to him, really.
Absolutely, I completely agree. So we're looking very good for Di Matteo here. Joe, is there who makes your team here? Joe, do you want to put a different name on the table?
I'm going to go with Robben to start with. He'd be one of my first names on there.
So we're going 4-4-2. We're going 4-4-2, and you're pushing Robben for the winger position.
Definitely, yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. For me, being completely honest, Joe, I don't think Robben did it for long enough at Chelsea. It's not necessarily the impact wasn't great, but I just don't think he did it for long enough. Dan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it was a bit stop and start, wasn't it, really? I think he didn't... I mean, he was brilliant, and he's brilliant now. He's gone on to show that he's one of the best players in the world. But when he was with us, I don't think he got a long enough run, just free of injury and things like that. I think it really hampered his time at Chelsea.
Absolutely. Scott, what do you think to that? Does Arjen Robben make your left winger position in this dream team?
I've got to agree with Dan there. I don't think he was as good back then as he is now, so I wouldn't put him in my dream team.
Brilliant. Joe, fight your corner, mate.
I think he's probably the one player in the last sort of, post Abramovich era who's gone on to bigger and better things. I think we should have given him a longer chance at Chelsea. Obviously, he was hampered by injury a lot, but if you're going to compare him to someone like Di Matteo and the impact he's had, unfortunately, whilst my heart says Di Matteo, I think my head probably says that Robben will be in there ahead of him.
Okay, this is brilliant. See, this is what I was hoping for, a bit of controversy. So you've gone for Robben, right? Let's hear Scott. Who give us another name? Who makes your dream team, and let's see how it fits with ours.
I'm gonna go for Makelele here.
Okay, Makelele has actually not made my team. But I think that it's a great name to have on the table. Yeah. I think that Claude Makelele is the only player to have ever had a position named after him on the pitch.
Exactly, yeah.
I completely understand. Dan, does Claude Makelele make your team?
Yeah, he has to. I mean, Essien was close, just work ethic, fantastic goals, just, the desire and everything. But I think Makelele, if you think about teams in the modern day now, they play with two people almost in that position. I know they do different things, but those two people cover that position. He did on his own, and he was one of the smallest men on the pitch.
Do you know what? That's a really, really good point. That's a really, really good point. Scott, just to go back to you, because you put him on the table, does Dan's suggestion of Essien not change anything for you, or are you sticking Makelele?
That's a hard one, to be honest. I don't think Essien was as influential for us as Makelele, because I don't think without Claude we would have won the 2 back-to-back Premier League titles. So
I think that's true. Joe, what are your thoughts on Claude Makelele?
I think he was dependable, wasn't he? You knew what you were getting with him. You could probably count on one hand the amount of bad games he had for Chelsea.
I completely agree. I think that's really good point, well made. So, is Claude Makelele in this team? Are we unanimously agreeing that Claude Makelele is in this central midfield?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, this is interesting, boys, because I think that we're gonna have made a rod for our own back here. I'm assuming that we are all unified in nothing but love and admiration of the super great Frank Lampard.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. So Frank Lampard is in, which means that Roberto Di Matteo either pushes wide or gets dropped. Scott, how do you feel about that?
My next one is a bit controversial, maybe, because he hasn't been at the club for that long.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
He's going to say it, boys. I can't hear it. I can't believe what I'm about to hear, but it's coming. Go on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Hazard here, because I just think he's one of the best players we've ever had at Chelsea, and even though he's only been at the club for 2 years, I'm just on the edge of my seat all the time when I see him. So,
Joe, what do you think about that suggestion?
I think technically he is definitely one of the best players we've ever had. I find him extremely frustrating sometimes. I think when we counter-attack, he cuts inside so often and he beats players more than once, and there's no need to. But we've relied on him so much this season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's definitely player of the year, isn't he? I mean, there's no doubt that he is player of the year. So does he make your dream team here?
I think he probably does. I'm in an iron between.
You can't have everyone, Joe.
Hold up. I've got Makelele, Robben and Lampard.
Okay. Well, Robben's out. Right, so Dan, does Eden Hazard make your dream team here?
Yeah, I think he has to. I think if you add goals to his game, there's no limit really to what he can do. I agree that sometimes he frustrates me a bit, and I think a good point is maybe when he was on the deck when Adam scored that goal. I know he kind of got sort of a leg from the back, but I think he didn't really need to go down. I think he was trying to win a free kick, but and I think if he adds goals, when he took on a couple of players against Stoke again as a perfect example, and he sort of shot straight at Begovic. I mean, he needs to be putting them away, and then I think he'll be a great. And I think, he has to be in this team. I think he definitely has to be in this team.
Okay. Can I just I'm just going to put a name forward. I think that some other people might see it as an honourable mention, but I'm going to put him forward because he's made my team. He's in my team. Dennis Wise.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm just going to remind you of a couple of things. 2 things. I'm going to make 2 points and then I won't say another word and I'll let you boys debate it. 1 word, 2 words is the San Siro. The other thing is the assist for the goal that Zola scored in Stockholm against Stuttgart. That assist is one of the best assists. It's up there with Lampard's assist for Ramirez in the Nou Camp, and the San Siro is one of the best moments of my youth. Does Dennis Wise, just for sheer longevity and sheer consistency, deserve a place in this team? Scott?
Probably, because back then he was...
You can't have everyone!
We're not 5 in the field.
But back then he was what John Terry is for us today, so he probably deserves a mention, but I wouldn't put him in my team. Let's have it that way.
Right, Dan?
I think the problem is that he was there, say, before obviously the success that the higher success that we had. So, it would probably be a toss-up between him and Makelele maybe, because obviously Makelele, he was important to those 2 titles, but then he was so important before with everything that Scott just said, doing exactly what Terry does on the pitch. He was brilliant. His work ethic was amazing, and just the desire to win, do anything to win. Absolutely. So I think it's difficult, really.
Absolutely. And Joe, how do you feel?
I think he epitomised everything that you sort of wanted in a midfielder at that stage, but I don't think he's good enough to make the midfield.
Okay. Right, so he's not made it. Right. So as things stand currently, boys, we are Hazard, Lampard, Di Matteo, or Makelele. I need a final answer on Di Matteo or Makelele. It's going to be a vote. I'm going to put it to you 3. Scott, Di Matteo or Makelele, please.
I'm going to go with Di Matteo.
Okay. Dan, Di Matteo or Makelele?
I'm going to go Makelele.
Joe?
I feel like I'm betraying my 7-year-old self here. But I'm going to say Makelele.
Okay. Right. So far we are Hazard, Lampard, Makelele, and one place up for grabs. Arjen Robben has been put on the table by Joe and has not been unanimously well received. I'm going to ask Dan for his suggestion for this final spot that is up for grabs.
I don't have him down. I think he's a mention just because I loved watching him growing up. Was Joe Cole. I mean, he was just fantastic to watch. I mean, it's probably not something somebody's going to be shouting out, but I do just remember, like, growing up and watching him play, he was absolutely brilliant to watch. And I don't think at that time we really had someone who did sort of what he did. And you know, remember that the competition he had for England where he was player of the tournament. You know, I think people are quick to forget about things like that. And you know, for a time, he was brilliant for us.
Okay, I agree. I think he's a brilliant player, Joe Cole. I think he certainly deserves a mention here. But Scott, for you, does he qualify for this sort of company that he's keeping here with Makelele, Lampard, and Hazard so far?
I don't think he's in the same class, but I agree with Dan. I think it was a bit underrated, actually. I think he did well for us, yeah. I mean, his performance against Barcelona in the Champions League, I'll never forget that, the 4-2 at the bridge, and he did really well that night, yeah. But as I said, I don't think he's in that bracket yet with Lampard and Makelele, yeah.
Right, I would agree. The man that I'm going to put for the last position that's up for grabs for this Chelsea team of the past 20 years, the midfield position, one place up for grabs, for me, it's Michael Essien. Joe, thoughts? Talk to me.
I think he scored a lot of important goals. I mean, that goal against Arsenal, Valencia away.
Yeah, Valencia away. That was incredible.
But I think he just had it in him, like a stupid tackle, a needless red card, which ultimately would cost us. I remember Fulham, he got sent off in like the 95th minute when we were like 3-0 up, and he missed. I think it was Arsenal as a result of that, and you just think, well, that's, you know.
Yeah, discipline was an issue for him, but he had so many other brilliant attributes that he sort of swallowed it.
I think, you know, at a point, he was probably the best midfielder in the world at a point.
Absolutely. So does he make, in your opinion, is he in this team? Is he one of the best midfielders in a 4-4-2 to play for Chelsea in the past 20 years?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, it's a vote. It's a democracy. It's a democracy at the Chelsea Fans channel. So it's a no from Joe. Scott, same question.
It's also a no from me.
Which means Dan, just out of interest, what would you have said?
Well, I mean, I brought him up earlier. I think maybe he stayed a little bit too long, and you know, he probably petered out, and I think that's probably what sticks in a lot of people's minds. But obviously, we remember like the great goals and you know, the game changers. I think when we're thinking about the level of people that we've got in this team, he probably doesn't make it.
Right. So my next name on the table, and we're gonna have to agree on something here, guys, because we are struggling. Unless anyone else has any brilliant suggestions, the name that is coming to my mind, because I love him, almost solely, not solely obviously, but almost even a little bit more because of the fact that he turned down Tottenham, I'm going for Damien Duff.
Yeah.
Does Damien Duff make your team, Scott?
Yes.
He does.
I absolutely love that guy. Yeah, I don't think he was. I mean, he wasn't a world-class player, but he did the job for us, and he's had a few really, really good performances for Chelsea over the years, and yeah, I love him.
Dan, does he make it for you?
I'm not sure. I haven't got him down in my team. I think he was sort of. I would prefer Joe Cole over him. I think they were sort of kind of similar what we were talking about earlier. So I don't think I'd have him down on my team.
Okay. In the spirit of democracy, Joe.
Well, as Robin's been brushed off, I'd definitely go with Duff as a suitable replacement. I think he did a lot of work off the ball defensively.
Absolutely. Really good point, Joe. Yeah.
Which was good, and you know, Barcelona at home. First 20 minutes, he was.
Yeah, he was sort of responsible for that, wasn't he? It was brilliant. So our lineup is currently as it stands. Is Damien Duff on the left, Eden Hazard on the right, Claude Makelele and Frank Lampard in the middle. How do we feel about that? Obviously, there's some compromise involved. Nobody's going to run away with this. Dan, are you happy? Duff, Makelele, Lampard, Hazard.
Yeah, I'm happy. As long as there's somebody probably that is more attacking midfield that's in the strikers, in the forwards, I'll be happy with that.
Okay. Right, that's one. Scott.
That midfield would probably win us the Champions League. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to go with that, yeah.
I'd agree. And Arjen Robben, are you happy with that? I mean, sorry, Joe, are you happy with it?
3 out of the 4. I'll compromise at 3 out of the 4.
God, he's not happy about the lack of Arjen Robben, is he? Really not happy. Right, I'm happy with that. It's not. I'm slightly upset that Roberto Di Matteo hasn't made it. Slightly upset that Dennis Wise hasn't made it. But I think that in the spirit of compromise, that team is absolutely brilliant. So as it stands, it's up on the screen now, guys. I think it's brilliant. It's Duff, Makelele, Lampard and Hazard. I think that is brilliant. And so, boys, thank you so much for your input. I think that we got there in the end.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right. We will talk to you all again when it comes time to do probably the hardest thing we're going to have to do and pick 2 strikers, which is going to be almost impossible. So thank you all very much, and cheers for watching. And have your comments below. Let us know exactly what you think. Do you agree with our choices? And if not, why? Cheers for watching. Ta-da.